Every time I gotta look at that one, but that is just insane. Look at that compared to my hand. There's something different about this branch. It's like a mutant. Look how big those flowers are compared to what it looked like when we first moved in. That is just awesome. I want to put a big garden bed here, lots of space, and let those Pinky Winky Primes mature right next to Pinky Winkies. Here you go. Just kidding.
She's so mean.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Aww.
I'll give her some.
You get some food.
So today I've got 5 brand new hydrangeas, really large Pinky Winky Prime, and they are going to be in their new bed with a lot of space. Last week we did Pinky Winky and I planted them way too close together, but Pinky Winky Prime is a lot brighter flower. They're bushier at the base, and these are huge pots compared to what I normally get to plant. So really excited about getting these in, seeing what they look like over the years in a dedicated Pinky Winky Prime bed right next to a Pinky Winky bed. And I can barely say that, but that's fun to watch over the years and just see how things mature differently. This Pinky Winky, I've said a million times, has just been the rock star of the yard this year. And we've got hydrangeas, but nothing looks quite like a Pinky Winky as a texture, from a texture perspective, and just the way they age through the color. The hydrangeas overall are doing awesome this year. We got hibiscus at the end of each bed, and compared to what it looked like when we first moved in, that is just awesome. We need better pruning next year or this winter, but overall this is just crazy. These are all limelights on the edge, and they've got a hardy hibiscus. Some of them need some water, it looks like, but they haven't turned red yet, so that's kind of a plus. I like the green, but I really like the white, and I want the white to stay as long as it can. But that is just cool. We've got one monster too. This is like a limelight that is huge petals. So that compared to the one next to it, there's something different about this branch. It's like a mutant. Look how big those flowers are. You don't really see that a lot. But as you go down the line, we've got plenty of whites, reds, pinks, and really just loving how this is going. I'm gonna fill some of these beds in, put better edges on, make everything a little bit cleaner, because we're running out of landscape space. So I want to clean up some of these areas, especially back there with the volunteer oaks, and have nice sharp edges like our comma here. And this is the Pinky Winky bed we put in last week, but I made the mistake of planting them way too close together again. So here I think I can connect some of these trees and cloak them in hydrangeas for a few years until they can really mature out, and then they'll be the kind of the rock stars of the yard. But I want to put a big garden bed here, lots of space, and let those Pinky Winky Primes mature right next to Pinky Winkies. So I'm going to bring those out, get them positioned to where they're visually correct from the yard or the road and the house, and start cutting the garden bed in, and we'll see how much I can get done in a day. What do you think? You got your duck? You got your duck? You are a good girl. You are a good garden dog. Ready to garden? You look tired. You look tired. It's too early to be tired, girl. It's too early. Take a nap. That'll work. So this Ryobi edger really allows you to draw those lines first several times. You can get nice, clean, visually correct lines, and then you can go in with the old school edge tool, which I love, and really dig down in that on that edge, cutting off the grass roots and everything that's going to spread into your garden. But I really like this. This would have taken me 3 days, maybe a year ago, and now we can do it in maybe an hour, so very handy. So last time I dug really big holes, did it again, but I noticed that they kind of drain quickly and the hydrangeas just dry out a little bit faster. So I went with big holes again just because it is really bad dirt, clay soil, and hopefully I can mix some of that in, but I'm gonna have to make sure these are watered because that's a huge hole for a small root ball. So one more and then we get some stakes. Here you go. Just kidding.
So mean.
Oh, sorry.
Aww.
I'll give her some.
You get some steak.
I got a burnt one she can have. I gotta let it cool off, girl.
Did Dad promise me some steak?
I'll give you some.
Oh, no, wasp.
Now Ripley never eats at the table, but outside, we're gonna try it. Get up. You sit. That's her only trick. That's her only trick. Is that a good steak? Is that a good steak? You want one more?
Paw.
You know paw?
You gotta stick your hand.
Paw. I can't do it. Get it all off my fingers. Oh, you're a good girl. You are a good girl. Can I see your face? Can I see your face? All right. You are such a pretty girl. Oh, you're just a good girl. Golden retrievers have to smile when they're breathing, so that's what makes them so pleasant.
No,
There's one more piece of fat. There's one more piece of fat. I'm gonna get my fingers. There you go. So we are ready to put some plants in, and what I'm gonna do is use a mixture of organic compost. I don't know if it's organic. Compost and manure mixed with some wood chips. And I'm just doing that to really aerate the soil and really stretch 4 bags to 5 plants. But I'm gonna mix in some of the clay as well, so it's gonna get incorporated at some point, but this will be a lot better as long as I keep it watered. I think they're draining way too fast and I need to be on that better. See if I remember biotone. because it's so hairy, I don't know where to grab them. Decent root ball, nothing I'd break up. That's a big hole. This looks like the best one. Got good roots going all the way around there. Little slow release fertilizer. Well, that wore me out, but it also wore out Ripley, who is completely knocked out here. You tired? Are you tired? You've been outside a lot today. Spider on you. Yeah. It's a hard day of gardening, isn't it? It's been perfect weather, 72 degrees, but she gets hot. And she takes a lot of naps, so she's had a big day. It's like 1 o'clock. It's awesome. So I'm using some cardboard from Costco, which is awesome to keep it out grass, but I forgot that I hadn't done the irrigation, and hydration is huge with holes this big, I found out. So what I need to do first is get this line fixed that I cut with the edger, and then I'm going to loop 1/2-inch hose all the way around the garden with this, and I'll tee into an existing line and probably right about here and just go all the way around. So if you haven't seen that, I'll show you how I do it real quick, and then we'll get to mulch. This is the connector I'm going to use just line to line. I don't need to tee into this one, and I'm going to get a nice cleaner cut here with a really dull knife. So that's just going to tee in together, and if you wiggle them together, it's a lot easier to get that connector in. So that is good enough for my yard. Now we'll find a spot to get this guy in and do our loop. So I've got my tee in, I've got a hose going. So now I just need to loop it around so it touches all the new hydrangeas. And then I'll put in a 2-gallon emitter, 2-gallon an hour emitter into the holes. So I got lucky and had 2 tees and a hose that really wasn't being used, so I cut that out. And you can see my main line is going out here towards the bubblegum vista. And I just spliced into that. I put a tee here, I put a tee here, and I've got just a loop going all the way around here. And that'll give me some irrigation if I want to do annuals here. I think I'm going to do one on this bump and on that bump, and maybe even here, but next year. So now I just need to get the emitters onto each of the hydrangeas and we can mulch. So as I work around, like I said, I'm just going to use this 2-gallon an hour red emitter. It'll probably only be on for maybe 20 minutes twice a day, so that'll be less than a gallon in each watering session, which I think is probably enough. I'll probably supplement it with some more water, but at least at the beginning. But I'm just going to poke a hole and put my emitter in, and hopefully that does the trick. Put it real close to the root ball there, because I don't have any leader wire, but you get the idea. So I think everything's ready to go. I'm going to test the irrigation one last time before I bury everything with mulch. I do have the irrigation on top of the cardboard, and what I use is just and we'll hit start, and that is the Beehive automatic watering system that will turn on my irrigation here, and hopefully we'll see some water if we're connected to Wi-Fi. So that says connecting, but we've got water pressure here. I don't know if you can see that. That looks pretty good. So that's going to be dripping out all around here. Let's see if I can find a good one. So we got water, clearing some air on the new hose, but that's just going to drip for 10 minutes for now on the test. But that'll go off twice a day and hopefully add some supplemental watering to the hydrangeas. And that beehive watering system's awesome. I've installed 3 of them this year. Everything's on a schedule, and if it's really hot, I can turn it on my phone if I'm at work and make sure everything's watered, which I worry about. So I got all the mulch in and I think it looks really good. I like the spread outness of this bed versus my Pinky Winky bed last week, but this is very clean compared to what we started with. That was a kind of a bad spot in the yard that just didn't look right with the 2 oaks, and I've got more of it going down here, and I'll show you what I really tend to do when I mow. I just see these oaks peeking out of the grass and I try to mow around them, and it doesn't look very good. I got to get the grass cleaned up, but they'll start to mature into small saplings there, and some of them have even gotten quite large. Got 2 way too close together, but I think I'll sacrifice whichever one loses the race. So far that's winning. But going back to the Pinky Winky Prime, this is just a clean kind of kidney bean shaped garden bed, and just loving that. As that spreads out over the years, that's going to be huge. Just skyscrapers from the road. Got Pinky Winky over there, Pinky Winky Prime here, and from the road view, you'll remember many years ago it was just blank space here, and huge mess of buckthorn in this spot. But as we have evolved the landscape, we've got annual beds we can put here. We've got spots that we can put annuals here next year. Each of these little berms on the side, we've got spots maybe in this bed, or you could bump it out. But that Pinky Winky bed is looking good, and that's going to be a skyscraper. That's going to be 9 foot plus, and it'll really provide a little bit of a visual block from the road, and the same here. So this will be 9 foot, but twice as wide at least. The spacing is maybe 10 foot on some of them, 12 foot there, less over on this side, but I think it looks good. Those Pinky Winkies they're not as bright as they will be next year, but in the pots, that's not too bad. And it's a brighter kind of look than the Pinky Winky, I think. But that is just awesome. And can you imagine like 9 foot of that? 9 foot wide, maybe tall. That'll just be a huge monster. But anyway, the Pinky Winky Prime bed is looking pretty puny compared to that, even though they're going to be monsters as well. So that one's kind of bright, but they definitely need watered when you put them in that first year, especially with holes as big as I dug. It's they just seem to, the water just seems to seep out quicker, I think, from the root ball. Anyway, that's my theory. So we'll take a look at the overall view from the road. And again, this was just all grass, and there's Ripley in the background. But we're gonna have a big skyscraper back there. We're gonna have a skyscraper there. These will actually turn into skyscrapers as well. These limelight hedges, they're projected to be 9 foot at maturity, but some of these hibiscus are just amazing. Dinner plate hibiscus. Look at that compared to my hand. Just monsters. And we've got them everywhere. Look at that. Just the stamen on them. So looking down the line, we've just got textures and colors everywhere. This is the one monster. I don't know why it's so big, but the flowers are just huge compared to a regular one over here. But the inside kind of mirrors the outside. Hibiscus on each end, a lot of reds, and some of the Pinky Winkies look like, or actually some of the limelights look like they're starting to turn, get some of the pink. But that is cool. That is cool. And as you look down the lanes, you're supposed to be able to see the garden beds on the inside of the yard, and rooms really starting to form in the landscape. This is a neat one. I think that's a new one last year that I planted. Just a real interesting color of pink, thick petals, awesome stamen, nice dark purple leaves. I love that foliage. And just more hibiscus hydrangeas. This is one that shouldn't be out here in the sun, but I've got it anyway. Really like that. And that lemon coral sedum beneath it is just, I'm going to do it different next year, but I'm definitely going to use lemon coral sedum. That is just an awesome, succulent looking plant. But so much interesting stuff. Such a cool transition this year from last. Everything's different, everything's bigger, everything's more prolific. The hydrangeas we just put in are going to be really interesting. Everything is a next year goal. I want to see what it looks like in a year from now. But this year, it is looking good. Really cool hibiscus here. These are 2 whites. I'm gonna have to spread out the grasses next year, but that is awesome. The limelights back there are also going to need to be bumped out a bit, but not too bad. Nice tall grasses this year. And there's a Ripley girl. What do you think, girl? You always like pats. And we'll take a spin through the interior here. Got big vanilla strawberries weighted down. The big Pinky Winky that kind of inspired the last few projects. Just crazy. Look at that. Every time I gotta look at that one, but that is just insane. Vanilla strawberry tucked in there, Pinky or Limelight Prime, Firelight. You can see how the difference in color on the Firelight is. These should be bigger, and That'll be a 9-footer, but the vanilla strawberry is a lot different. Bigger blooms on some of them. So you can see here there's a limelight prime, but this is a vanilla strawberry kind of poking through from over there. Another firelight, you can tell from the dark pink. And that goes pink pretty quick, but it's pretty much all over the place. And tucking around here, we've got our limelights, our monsters, and black lace elderberry. Can't have enough of those. But these are just huge. I think there's a firelight and a vanilla strawberry tucked in there too, but they get a little less sun. Overall, that is looking great. One more good example of a vanilla strawberry. That is one panicle. Let's see, a big one. That is one panicle. And they get bigger than that. But anyway, I am loving the garden this year. I'm loving the new projects that we're adding now that we've kind of caught our breath. So we've got lots more planned. And the Pinky Winky bed and the Pinky Winky Prime. I don't really know if there's a contest yet. The spacing of the Pinky Winky Prime and the Pinky Winky is really the only factor that's different. And right out of the pot, I think I'm really just liking these Pinky Winky Primes. The Primes, I'm gonna call them the Primes because I can't say that. But that is going to be just spectacular. They're bushier. The Pinky Winky originals are just kind of really upright. Maybe how they grew in the pot, but these are just a bushier version, maybe. Anyway, I like it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.